When I was a kid, my dream was to live under a bridge. Because I didn't have any ability to hope for more of that. That's really sad and really showing of how broken the system is when a child feels like all they can hope for is to live under a bridge and nothing more. There very much was a time where I was very broken. There was a time when I tried to end my life, and that's how I got my burns. I need to use my experiences to encourage others or share my story to show that there is a ray of light at the end of the tunnel. So I was 2.5 when I went into foster care with my younger brother. And then following that, put into quite a few homes that I can't even count on both hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe more than 10. Yeah, more than 10.
Homes?
Yeah. And I've heard stories of kids going through homes double that amount. It's really weird. I can actually remember most of my traumatic experiences back to the age of 3. It can be quite burdensome at times. I can remember going through those different homes and being abused and neglected. When you're a child, it's essential that you have a sense of belonging and a sense of nurturing and love, but you can't really achieve that when you're being moved around so much. We're at one of the houses that I stayed in when I was younger. I actually stayed there twice. I must have been 5 and 6, and then we went away and then came back later on when I was 7. Haven't been here since back then, so it's kind of, yeah, a little bit confronting, but it's good as well. The caregivers were actually really lovely, but it was a temporary placement for kids where they put you in emergency situations. I do tend to try and distance myself from my past a little bit, especially in this area, having lived here. I had to be an adult from an extremely young age. It created an environment where I had to be very skeptical of everyone. I had to question everything that was going around me to make sure it was okay, because I continuously felt threatened. It was May the 29th. It was a Sunday morning. I still remember it was between 10 and 10:30. And it was a beautiful sunny day, you know. Sky was blue. You could hear some birds chirping. But for me, that day would be a defining moment for the rest of my life. In that moment, all of my emotions came out at once. all the anger, sadness, the feelings of reject. And at that moment, it was really like my body went from me controlling it to just autopilot. And I had all these emotions coming out at once. In that moment, I was so sick of feeling the way that I did. You know, it was a sense of, this is what it's come to, you know? And I just want it to end, all these emotions to end. Sometimes it still pops up in my mind and I'm like, you know, kind of quite confronting. Like, I can still remember what it feels like when I think about it. I can remember almost every moment of the agony, you know, replaying in my head. When I was 13, when I tried to commit suicide, the bullying that I experienced was one aspect of it. I'd also gone through the state care system, and that was quite intense for a young child to go through, and it felt very lonely. So this is Lauren and Kerry's farm. I've known them both since I was 4. They both mean so much to me. Lauren was my foster mum back then. Really excited. It's always awesome to see them. Can't wait.
I'd lost a partner to a brain tumour and I was struggling to get out of my hold. I didn't quite know where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, and Josh and Aidan came into my life. They arrived on my doorstep and they had their little backpacks on, and that was all they came with, just little backpacks.
This is Mama Bear. Lauren Powell, so yeah, she's Mama Bear, yeah.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
I love seeing him.
Yeah.
As long as he's been good.
Oh, well, I can't behave myself all the time, eh?
Yeah. If he's not been and he comes up for a cuddle and a lecture, then he accepts it. You do, you're very good like that.
Yeah, I never used to be, though. Eh?
No, we used to argue.
Yeah, this is Kerry. Kerry.
My bag's out.
But yeah, this is fam.
Or the army. The day I was coming home back from Thailand, one of my daughters rang and said, Mum, I need to tell you, Josh is in hospital and he's got serious burns and I believe he might have tried to commit suicide.
And she went to the hospital and went to intensive care unit, and Child, Youth and Family had put a notice up that no visitation from anyone was allowed. But she begged to be allowed into my room to see me.
I suppose I just talked because I didn't know what else to do. And there wasn't a lot of places on him I could touch because he was bandaged and quite badly burnt.
Then I just remember hearing her voice and sharing these stories from when I was younger, and gradually I was able to move my fingers, and then I started waking up, and then the doctors came in and were like, oh my God, he's waking up. And yeah, it's this very special memory and bond there. I guess growing up the way I did, I never felt like I had a proper family or trust someone 100%. Mama Bear here is, you know, she is my mum. She is one of the few people that I do 100% trust.
At the beginning, he wouldn't cuddle and he wouldn't, you know, he was very reserved. They both were to a big degree. Every time a car would pull in the drive, Josh would run in. Auntie, 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 it's Sifs, don't let them take us. But then one day when this car did pull in the drive, of course the boys attached themselves. So I'm sitting on the couch and I've got one hanging around my neck and one hanging around my waist. And she said, this is not okay. And I'm like, what's not okay? And she said, these children aren't supposed to love you. I said, beg your pardon? And she said, no, they're not your children. And I said, you cannot let me, you put these children in my home and then tell me not to love them.
She really cared about us. She wanted to take us on for life. She was told that we were not her kids, so she could not get attached to us or, you know, and I think that what she felt there was, you know, that she couldn't love us like her own children and or nurture us. And, you know, as a result of her love and care, we were removed. And that's pretty unbelievable to hear, but it is what happened. And that really makes me mad when I look back on that because it was a perfect home for us, you know.
There's a lot of things I learned from Josh, but one of them is he doesn't want people to feel sorry for him. And even times he said to me, if we went back in time, I would probably still do everything I've done.
Yeah, I wouldn't change one
because
thing.
I've learned from it.
"40 to 48% of my body was burnt. When I first saw my burns, in that moment I realized that I would never look how I would look before. What were others gonna think of me? How were others gonna perceive me? Would they accept me now that I was different? Being burnt is one of, if not the most painful injury you can sustain. You're injuring the largest organ on your body. There's so many nerves on your skin. We feel so much through our skin. I would have to wear these pressure garments every single day for 3 years. I would have to continuously moisturize and oil my skin like 2 to 3 times a day, do physiotherapy and occupational therapy and go to appointments for my skin, checking on my skin, making sure my skin was healing all right. That was a lot of work and a lot of effort in trying to get back into school and that. This is one of the primary schools I went to in Whangarei. I would have been 6 or 7. I went to a lot of different schools, so it does get a little bit jumbled up. I was also struggling with other aspects of my life through PTSD, through the traumatic experiences that I had experienced in state care. That did make me isolate myself as well from other kids, so I'd kind of be seen as the loner. I was also now having to deal with this bullying element that added more to the negative mental health aspects that I had to deal with in my life. Today, my mental health is pretty good. I do have my moments. I am at times still haunted by my past. I guess at the same time when I'm in those dark places still to this day, I do remember the goals and ambitions that I have, and that's what drives me and gets me through those times. I'm not going to let a system that failed me tell me that I can't achieve something. I'm not going to let my life go to waste from that failed system. I'm going to do something about it. I'm at the University of Auckland and I am studying a conjoint of law, politics and international relations and philosophy. My end game has always been politics. I want to go in there and make a difference from the struggles that I've been through so that others don't have to go through similar experiences. I feel like I almost have a responsibility to do something with my life that contributes and affects on a societal level. Because so many people who go through what I did don't get that opportunity, you know? They don't get the opportunity to hope. They literally are broken by what they go through. What I have chosen to study is very much aligned with that end game as a result of my past. Activist or advocate? A little bit of both. Activism, because obviously you're constantly trying to change something that's broken and you're speaking up for those that don't have a voice. I'm advocating the fact that there needs to be change, that something does need to be done. Melissa Lee is an essential part to my life. She is a friend, she's a mentor, but most importantly, she is a part of my extended family. Really excited to catch up with her today. Haven't seen her in a long time. Beautiful human. Hello. How you going? Mama Mel.
Oh, good to see you. He's such a dynamic young man, you know, who can actually talk. I was drawn to his energy, and he's so always lovely and really friendly, and he's opinionated, and I like opinionated people.
I am her deputy chair for the executive committee in the region, which is kind of cool. Also, it can be a little bit boring, but our purpose is to advance the political party that we work for in that region. So Melissa is the face. We are the behind the scenes and pushing everything from behind.
I didn't realize that he was actually initially quite self-conscious about his burns, and that's the reason why he was sometimes overcompensating. But, you know, I never actually saw those burn scars. I actually saw Josh, the personality. He's, you know, often bigger than himself. I don't just look at him as a young politician in the making. He's like a son. And I just want to protect him if I can.
Good. Did I tell you about my girlfriend?
Oh, God. I think I'll always be a little bit worried. I've seen the photograph on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you're in love?
Yeah, I actually am. We said the words the other day.
If I haven't heard from him for a little while, then I always make sure that I actually check up on him to make sure he's okay. He doesn't know this, but I drive past his house. But you just need to make sure that, you know, you don't sort of fall so hard that you get so hurt.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last one. You know, when you actually look at the story of his life and how he's self-harmed, and then you sort of look at him now and motivated and actually getting on with his life, it's really inspiring. Love you. Okay. The fact that he has hope for the future and wanting to be the Prime Minister of New Zealand, I think that's a really amazingly hopeful story for people.
Mental health is extremely important to me, you know, it's actually part of my identity because I am a survivor of suicide. I need to use my experiences to encourage others or share my story to show that, you know, there is a ray of light at the end of the tunnel. You can get through the struggles. We have one of the worst suicide rates in the world, in particular for men and teens. Men are expected to be strong, be stoic, be confident and exude it. You know, that man-up culture. A lot still needs to be done in the way of teaching them to be able to safely express their emotions, speak up about their emotions, you know, not just internalize them.
Alright, this is Joshua.
Hey dude, I'm Josh. How you going?
Good.
Having a good day? Yeah, we're down here in Napier. We've been attending the Kids Burn Support Charitable Trust Camp. It's called Camp Awhi.
Are you going to do it with us?
It's just a place where these kids, they can come and they can kind of just be themselves. They don't have to worry about any fears or stigmas around how they feel they may look.
Do not put your finger inside here.
Some of these kids, they're a varying range of ages, backgrounds, from all over New Zealand.
Oh, it's pretty good.
They've all sustained burns in different ways, different parts of their bodies. They got them as a result of different things. Ready? For some of them, it would have been burns as a result of a house fire. Maybe they sustained burns as a result of boiling water spilling on them. Oh, it was a good try, guys. It's just a place where they can, you know, all come together as survivors and they can just be themselves. Kind of like a community, yeah. It's really special. I've been to one of these camps many years ago. I would have been 14 then. I'm 21 now. It was just really eye-opening. I hadn't really met any other burn survivors. For me, I was very much in this journey alone up to that point. But when you meet this community of survivors, it really opens your eyes to their journeys and what they've experienced and how they're feeling. And I think it's very similar for a lot of burn survivors, you know, because they do have to deal with that mental element that they're gonna look not how they always did for the rest of their life. It's important not just for me to use my story, but it's also really important for the Burn Support Charitable Trust as a community, you know? It's a community of burn survivors that come together and support each other. I'm very dedicated to helping others in my life. That's probably what brings me joy, is seeing others and being able to overcome their struggles and being able to succeed in their life. So it does bring me great happiness when I can see these kids, you know, they've gone through all this pain and turmoil. It makes me so happy to see them moving on. They still acknowledge and remember the past, but it's so important that they can also move forward and look forward to their future as well. Ideally, I would love to help as many people as I can. I would love for my story to inspire those that are struggling to get through their own struggles, to heal, to open up and express what they're going through. It's almost like my tattoo here, you know, I was a phoenix rising out of the ashes and soaring through the sky. It has made me who I am and given me the perspectives I have today and my ambitions for my future. And without going through that, I don't know where I would be today, what I'd be doing. There will always be a small part of me that will struggle with the insecurity of looking different. But when I think about it, I also consider how far I've come. And I consider what those scars mean to me, but also what I can use those scars to mean to others. I look at my scars today and I see them as a story, as a symbol of hope or a voice for the voiceless, you know. To me, that is the most important aspect that I consider.
someone you know needs support, please call the following.
Attitude was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.